you. I'm humbled and honoured to serve as the member for Hornsby. I am committed to public service because I care deeply about the challenges facing our community and have a strong sense of obligation to do all that I can. My life is, and always has... That's my number one supporter.
What do we say? Order, order.
My life is...
Bring him down.
And always has been grounded by family. So it seems fitting to begin by saying to my wife Sarah, and partner since we were 20 years old, thank you for sharing your life with me, and I love you more than you can imagine. 2 years ago, we were blessed with Benjamin, our little boy who has brought so much happiness and joy and noise. I was raised by two loving parents in the northern suburbs of Sydney. My sister Chloe and I were given every opportunity, and I know that only happened because my mother and father fully committed their lives to our happiness and success. Like so many others, my parents did not invest in property or buy fancy cars or go on overseas holidays. They invested the money they earned in our education, and they invested their spare time in building a better community around us. We grew up in the Hornsby Shire, the best place to raise a family. I learned the value of community from my mother, a teacher who volunteered her time at a children's community library and working with the disabled. From my father's example, I learned the value of hard work. Playing sport each weekend on grounds from Barara Oval to Somerville Park, I learned about teamwork. And sitting with my dad in the grandstands at Parramatta Stadium, I learned about loyalty and the excitement and often disappointment of caring deeply for a cause beyond your control. My mother's side of the family moved to the Hornsby Shire around 1906. That was the year the Shire was founded and was home to just 5,000 people. Hornsby began as a community of fruit growers, oyster farmers, timber millers, sandstone quarriers, railway workers, tradespersons and professionals. They lived in small villages amongst the bushland, close to the railway stations that had opened in the late part of the 19th century. From its earliest days, local volunteers propelled the Hornsby district forward and established a community that, whilst dependent on Sydney, was and still is in so many ways independent of it. Artist George Collingridge established its first newspapers. Charles Somerville, the son of a local farmer and one of 500 Hornsby Shire men to serve in the Great War, returned to Hornsby to found and lead many community organisations, from the Northern District Cricket Club to the Hornsby RSL sub-branch. Jimmy Banks, the son of a railway cleaner, captured the spirit of the area in his Ginger Meg cartoons, basing the title character on that of his childhood friend Somerville. Philanthropist Thomas Rofe led the community campaign to build a local hospital on Palmerston Road. The community built Hornsby Hospital. Small fundraising initiatives set up in each suburb in the middle of a depression raised a majority of the funds. And Councillor Edith Parish, a woman who served as a nurse in World War II, returned to Hornsby to establish baby health centres and local kindergartens. In response to the dangerous bushfires of the 1940s and 1950s, the community formed rural fire brigades, starting with what is now Galston RFS and a truck loaned by the Waddell family. Volunteers serving to protect their family and their neighbours. Today, there are 19 local brigades in Hornsby made up of 1,300 volunteers. My father's side of the family moved to the Hornsby Shire in the 1960s. In that decade, the community would grow with the opening of new public schools and the establishment of sports clubs, scout groups, girl guides and the PCYC, all to support a booming population of local children. To the west of Pennant Hills were still orchards and farmland, which in the years to come would be replaced by new housing, and with it the community of Cherrybrook, a place for the next generation to start their own families. The people of Hornsby are proud of this history, as they are of the tens of thousands of years of culture, custodianship and connection that the Darug and Guringai people have for the land and the rich multiculturalism which our area enjoys today. We inherit a strong community built by all those who came before us. Community gives us identity and a sense of belonging, but it is more than that. Strong communities make us more trusting and have a greater sense of responsibility to each other. Strong communities make for a stronger democracy. In a strong community, we can use our social connections to find work and seek business opportunities, and we can teach our children to develop the values and life skills which are good for them and the whole society: compassion, resilience, teamwork, respect, and responsibility. In measurable ways, strong communities improve our health, wealth, happiness, and, Mr. Speaker, even the performance of our elected representatives. While the Hornsby of today is blessed by so many who volunteer their time, we are not alone in facing the pressures of a modern world which adversely affects our ability to build local connections. By reducing travel time to and from our offices, and by seizing the flexibility that technology provides, we can have more time for family and connecting. We should design our suburbs to encourage social interaction, insisting that new developments and redevelopments have parks, town squares, and shared spaces. We should truly open up all public buildings and grounds for community use. Government should partner with the community to solve social problems. And when the community comes to government with an idea, government should start by saying yes. All in all, strong communities must be empowered by government and an investment in the structures that build connections. Mr. Speaker, I am proud to be part of a new generation of Liberals within our state's parliament. We represent young people and young parents trying to live a full and rich life at work, at home, and in the community. We want our children to receive the best chance in life through a well-rounded education. And we want for ourselves the chance to learn and grow in our own careers. We expect the government to get out of the way where markets provide us choice and opportunity. Equally, we expect the government to empower and protect us against market failures and global threats we cannot individually overcome. While we desire the security that comes with home ownership, our incomes have failed to keep up with rising house prices. Many of us cannot afford to buy a home, and those who do take on significant life-altering debt. As a consequence, we start families later in life and we rent for longer. We are frustrated by rising prices for everyday costs, and we are angry at state and federal governments that overtax income and payroll. Governments that, despite record revenue, still run budget deficits and, instead of addressing spending, seek to control inflation by increasing our monthly mortgage repayments. There is despair with politics because there has been too little progress when it comes to these issues, and a growing sense that a paternalistic and bureaucratic government is making things harder rather than being part of the solution. These are the challenges facing my generation, and they are the priorities of a new generation of Liberals. We must have the courage to think anew. It is time for us to stop accepting the outdated and impractical structure of a school day that ends at 3 in the afternoon. A system that creates unnecessary strain for families juggling work and home life, particularly those in the suburbs with long commutes. At too many schools, after-school care is full, and families are stuck on waiting lists. Even when spaces are available, parents still feel pressure to stop work to get their kids to other community-based activities. The way forward is to invite the broader community to be part of the solution. We must ensure that after-school care is coordinated with the many other activities our kids are involved in. Football and netball practice, music lessons, scouts, cadets, guides, the things that help children grow and learn valuable life skills. Together, we can create a system that not only supports family logistics, but enriches the lives of our kids. Every parent knows that it takes a village to raise a child. Yet, as it stands, a bureaucratic nightmare of regulation is locking the community out, and this needs to change. School grounds should be opened up for community use. Regulations on staff ratios and restrictions on centres engaging third parties will need to be relaxed. We should also take steps to reduce the costs of after-school care. This means shifting the insurance burden away from parent-run centres and back onto government, which is in a better position to manage the risk of maintaining safe school grounds. The government should stop charging parents rent for their children to access their own school grounds after the bell rings. The school grounds are a public asset, paid for by the taxes of parents. Charging rent on top is effectively a double tax on families. Housing affordability is an issue that demands a whole-of-government response. I support ambitious targets for the construction of new homes. But more important than construction targets, the state government should set and track a target for the cost of housing compared to average household income, a metric which has nearly tripled in a generation in Sydney. To rebalance incomes and home prices, we must re-examine our tax settings, simplify planning laws, remove government and union-imposed costs to build, and fund the enabling and community infrastructure that growth requires, an investment which can be recovered by a smart tax system. And it almost goes without saying that we should give buyers the choice as to whether to pay an upfront stamp duty or a land tax, a choice which young people overwhelmingly want and chose when given the chance. And for those families renting, we should normalise and incentivise long-term 5-year lease agreements so they can have the certainty of the same home as their children move through school. To help people grow professionally and raise their incomes and to deal with a more disrupted economy, we should develop flexible models of course delivery for skill and trade qualifications, including remote classes, after-hour learning, and short courses with intensive periods of full-time study. Qualifications and credentials that should be far more easily verifiable. These reforms would all improve our state's productivity. Productivity is the key to increasing incomes and raising living standards. It is about encouraging growth, removing barriers to entry, and letting new ideas take hold. Productivity requires the New South Wales Government to build and enable the long-term infrastructure that drives growth. Infrastructure like the Metro, the Western Sydney Airport, WestConnex, NorthConnex, the light rail, and renewable energy zones. This is the legacy of the last Liberal government. Yeah. But today, a coming wave of technology, artificial intelligence, and automation offers the best path to supercharge our state's productivity. AI will change the way we work and the services we consume. The business community has already made significant investments. I have witnessed this working as a technology lawyer over the past decade. If we can harness it, this wave will radically transform not just our economy, but the way we deliver government services. The administrative and repetitive processes of government will be made more efficient and can be provided at a massively reduced cost. From how we manage casework, processing of planning applications, surveying the community, transacting and collecting taxes. Most importantly, frontline service delivery will be transformed. AI-driven command centres can manage hospital bed allocations to reduce emergency waiting times. Remote monitoring can be used to care for patients in their own homes. The innovation of virtual wards offering a non-capital solution to the projected shortfall in hospital beds to care for an ageing population. And personalised treatment plans based on genomic data can improve patient outcomes. AI also promises better preventative healthcare through access to AI doctors on demand and early detection technology. In our schools, New South Wales teachers are already trialling use of AI tools to generate lesson plans. Students will benefit from access to AI tutors. Imagine a student in Hornsby learning the history of World War II by studying alongside an AI version of Churchill. We can enhance the quality of teaching by better capturing data on student progress, measuring student performance using a combination of frequent formative and summative assessments in the classroom, as well as student work in online tools, making it easier to identify and help those who fall behind and extend those who excel. This type of data collection is the key to breaking our reliance on high-stakes final exams to determine a student's educational future, letting us focus on developing knowledgeable and curious adults rather than students trained to excel in a single test. These technologies are all available today. Well, what is invented next? That's something best not predicted by politicians. Because the job of government is not to innovate the future. It is to remove barriers to new ideas and lay the foundations for technology adoption. And data is the foundational element of AI. That is why the Premier and Cabinet should mandate greater collection of data in a consistent manner across each department, and require that systems be built so that data and functionality can be exposed to other departments and external partners. By building and maintaining a data core for citizen records, government will be able to manage access to an application layer for a wide range of technology services offered by different Australian and global companies. This will protect against any one technology provider gaining a monopoly over a critical service. Now, other nations will apply AI in different ways, some with disastrous repercussions for the cause of human dignity and freedom. The same technology that we must use to share information and power from the state to our citizens can also be used to give more power to the state to surveil and control our lives. That is why any additional oversight and information that the government collects must be matched by citizens having greater oversight of the government itself. This concept of mutuality must be embedded in the technology. This means releasing real-time data on government performance. It also means that if the state can monitor the progress of students in the classroom, then it is only fair for parents to be able to see that same data about their own child. We will need to review outdated state privacy laws, which fail to recognise the digital age, the volume of data being collected, or the unique circumstances in which a patient provides their health data to a hospital, a student to their school, or a victim to the police. We need new rights for citizens so they have more control over how their information is used by government and shared with others. These new laws should be modelled off the best parts of the Commonwealth's consumer data right, albeit with a reduced regulatory burden. It should enable individuals to access data about themselves and direct that this information be transferred by government to accredited third parties of the citizen's choice. We should also install independent privacy auditors within government departments to report to the public on how their data is being used and shared. Transparency will ensure active public participation in discussions about AI and surveillance, which will make government decisions more democratic and reflective of shared values and priorities. To make it all work, the public service will need to embrace the change. We will always need outstanding teachers in the classroom and nurses in our hospitals. That is why the significant savings that AI promises should be shared between cuts to inefficient state taxes and pay rises for frontline workers. And most importantly, every use case for this technology should be viewed through the prism of maximising choice and citizen power. Mr. Speaker, at the heart of my liberalism is a belief in the dignity of the individual, a dignity which comes from the exercise of genuine choices, a dignity which is inextricably linked to the right to speak freely, the right to be heard in a democratic and respectful society, and the rule of law. It comes with freedom. Not a freedom from responsibility or care, but a freedom from control and coercion by the state and other forces. It is a freedom to pursue the opportunities of life. The role of the modern state must be to protect that freedom and enlarge the opportunities and choices available to each person, to empower through access to quality education and healthcare, and to help those suffering profound disadvantage, prejudice and addiction. For me, this is the purpose of Australian liberalism, and it is a fundamentally compassionate approach. Advancing human dignity requires that we do more to address the harm caused by poker machines in our state. This year in New South Wales, over $8 billion will be lost on poker machines. $23 million gambled away each day. The overwhelming majority of losses are experienced by a relatively small number of people who gamble every week. They lose more in each session and are more likely to gamble alone, later at night, and stay until the venue closes. We must help those seeking to escape addiction, but we also need more fulsome reforms. Technology can be used to empower people by establishing an effective exclusion register and by ensuring others are able to put a self-imposed limit on how much time they might play, when they might play, and the amount they are prepared to lose. The prevalence and costs of poker machines is not a global phenomenon. It is not even an Australian-wide phenomenon. It is a New South Wales problem, and we can fix it. It is a job for the 58th Parliament. There is good reason to change. There is widespread support across this chamber, and I hope we take this chance. I conclude by thanking my new colleagues who have welcomed me into the Parliament, in particular my party's leader, Mark Speakman, and to those friends who have supported me in my career. My predecessor, Matt Keane, has been one such friend. Matt is a reformer who made our state a better place. In our electorate, the community will never forget that Matt Keane saved Hornsby Hospital from years of government neglect and transformed it into one of the finest modern facilities in the world. He will be remembered as a great public servant like those of the past who propelled Hornsby forward. I'm proud to be working locally with friends Julie and Lisa, the federal member for Barara, and Mayor of Hornsby Shire, Warren Waddell, both men of conviction and sincerity. We have much to do, and I'm glad I will get to do it alongside you both. I thank members of the Hornsby Liberal Party, led by Andrew Jetson. I am extraordinarily grateful for his guidance and support. To my friends and best advocates in the Hornsby community, Penny and Ray Becchio, Martin Plus, Selva Kidnapali, Chris George, David Newry, Yvonne Wibbewo, Dilip Varma, Matt McClellan, Kerry Edwards, Jamie Henderson, Daniel Dummer, Mitch Dudley, Councillor Verity Greenwood, Christine Chalker, Alistair Jarks, Peter and Helen McNamee, Councillor Sally Ann McClellan, Charles Moyet, Lara Vanderwall, Tim Sowden, and of course Anna Coote, Jeanette Farrell, Nathan Tilbury and Heidi Cameron. Thank you. And I thank the young and bright leaders, Frances Bolster, Abby Smith, Bella Manticore, Ryan Muscat and Aileen Tan, for each of whom the future holds so much. Trent Zimmerman, Michael Evangelides, Maria Kovacic and Luke Sikora have been my strongest supporters in politics and close friends. Discussing with them and sometimes arguing over politics and policy has shaped much of my thinking, and I'm sure will continue to do so in the years ahead. Thank you. While Australians don't always like to admit it, the decisions of government matter. Family, work, education, our place in the community and purpose in life. These things must be protected and advanced by this Parliament. I acknowledge the responsibility given to me by the people of Hornsby. I will do all I can to serve them and our state. Thank you.